Guys of a Certain Age is brought to you by no one. Absolutely no one. Except these dudes walking down memory lane. Now let's head to the studio to see what they misremember next.
It's the podcast that's been called the Easter Bunny of your ears. It's Guys of a Certain Age. Robbie Koblenz alongside
Jay Reed.
You know, the Easter Bunny brings good things. Yeah, at least
right.
they did. Did you grow up? And we're recording this on Good Friday, by the way. Did you? What kind of presents did you get presents for Easter?
I did not, and it was funny that you asked that because we would get chocolate. We get a chocolate bunny, maybe.
Yeah.
My parents, I don't know what prompted them, if it was their idea or my Rusty's idea, but at some point we began an Easter egg sort of, not a scavenger hunt per se, but what do we call it when you, maybe a scavenger hunt, when you get like a list, you go to the, hall closet, and you go to the hall closet, there's another note that tells you to go to upstairs to the bathroom, and you follow these notes all around, and then at the very end,
That's a scavenger hunt.
Okay, so we had one of those. That was kind of our tradition. We'd have a scavenger hunt at the end. Would be more or less a chocolate bunny. We might get some other. I remember I think they call them marshmallow eggs, and they were hard, like a hard, not hard candy like Lifesavers, but crunchy on the outside a little bit, and then the inside kind of a marshmallowy feeling.
I remember.
Very
that.
vintage now. You can sometimes still find them, but that was my favorite. Still is. If I could find them, I definitely grab some. But no, we didn't really get presents. But then I would go to school the next day, and people were like wearing, their new Izod shirt, or and talk about all the gifts they got like it was Christmas, and we didn't do that.
Well, I was going to ask, did you get a new outfit for Easter?
Yeah, usually. Yeah.
Mom would get us little small gifts. Like I remember I got a Flash Gordon novelization one year, and I don't know why this sticks out. And I think I still have that Flash Gordon novelization on my bookshelf, but just small little things, and then candy. And growing up, we would do candy with the boys. Cadbury creamed eggs were always my favorite by far.
That kind of came along later for me. That's still one of my favorite candies for Easter.
Yeah.
Of course, the peanut butter egg, of course, but I do try to partake of a couple of Cadbury cream eggs every year. I can't really do much, or I could do much more than that, but I try to not.
That's part of being an adult, is knowing when to say when to all things.
They are, but they're so rich. But I remember when they first came out, I was like, "This is weird."
Yeah. Oh
this
no,
is
I
so
love
weird,
them.
but I love them now. Yeah, I love them now.
So we had, we've talked about this. We do our Monday night family dinner where we have a bunch of people who come over Monday night. And one of the kids who came over, his mom came and brought us a bag of Easter goodies that I walked in from the baseball game last night. And a particular Beagle Hound dog that we rescued got into him, and
was it chocolate or?
It was chocolate, but it was milk chocolate. And this dog is indestructible. Okay. I mean, Elvis will outlive us all. He's kind of like the cockroach or the canines, and he knew exactly he'd done wrong. And, the thing is, it was
from the gurgle in his stomach.
Well, he knew he can't help himself, and, because he's so food motivated, and he will jump 4 feet in the air to get things off shelves.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Oh, it's pretty impressive. And so we left this within a radius, because what he had to do was crawl up on a living room easy chair, get to the back of it, precariously go over about 10, 12 inches to a ledge and pull the bag down.
Wow.
Yeah.
That would have
and then
been
he
fun
drug
to see
the bag. Then he would drag the bag to his favorite spot to munch, which is the middle of the living room. And what's hilarious, I walk in, and the black lab, Loki, is kind of doing his own thing. Thor, the little white blonde terrier, is so upset that Elvis has done this that he meets me rolled over on his back, showing his belly, saying, I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything. And then Elvis is just a subdued thumping of tail. And I knew exactly, if they don't all meet us at the door,
something's up.
Something's happening. It's usually Elvis's fault. So, but anyway.
That's funny. Well, and then another thing, Rusty and I would hide eggs from each other. Occasionally, when we were younger, my parents would hide eggs, just little plastic eggs, and we'd find them. But you've seen, I'm sure you've gone to church or whatever, egg hunts, and they're all perfectly visible to some degree.
Oh, yeah.
Now with me and Rusty, Rusty and I would hide them around the house, and there would be none in sight. You'd have to really dig to get to them.
We had a guy who stayed with us for a semester, a good friend of Mark's, who was on the football team here, decided to transfer, but ended up staying for an additional semester. So he lived with us for a semester. And he's a big kid, big goofy kid. Hello, Matai, if you're listening. And he wanted an Easter egg hunt. So Bonnie did an Easter egg hunt the Sunday of Easter that he stayed with us. And, you know, he played linebacker at State. Okay. So this kid is just having the time of his life, going around the house and outside finding Easter eggs. It was pretty funny.
That's great.
So the things we do for kids.
Yep.
So even those who are not ours are at least
kids,
biologically. So, all right, let's jump into some geeks of the week. Who wants to go first? Jay, would you like to go first?
I'll go first. Yeah. We'll jump in. I'm going to, a couple of days ago, a new-ish Supergirl trailer came out, and to me, okay, so there was maybe one scene that I remember from the first trailer that overlapped. Otherwise, it almost looks like a different movie, which I think is kind of fascinating, where the way they pulled in different parts of the movie from the two different trailers to make, I mean, it's like, well, what's this movie going to really be about? So it gets a little bit deeper into the sort of melancholy aspect of Supergirl, and I have not read Supergirl comics for a long, long time, so I don't know really the story behind this. But Lobo figures much more into this trailer, and I have a question: is he a good guy or a bad guy?
Yes.
Okay. Because he kind of looks like he's not the villain here, but he has the villain look for sure.
He is what you would call an anti-hero.
That's kind of what I was wondering.
Okay. You know, we really need to do our regrettable villains again. One day.
Yeah. Well, I still have the book. I'm just waiting for it all to be together.
Yeah. So he's been kind of a, an anti-hero through the comics, and not really a villain, but not necessarily. I mean, I think at one point he was a member of the Justice League International, maybe. So Jason Momoa was,
Yeah. Well, clearly the bad guy's clear in this.
Yeah.
And he, they don't look that much different. So I'm just trying to figure out. It almost kind of looks, I don't know, steampunkish, but the bad guy in this. But I'm looking forward to. You said you'd heard it wasn't getting good reviews. I heard that it was, so we'll just kind of have to wait and see.
Yeah, I'm just kind of afraid that it's DC Comics are a little bit of a mess anyway. Well, comic books are messy in nature by continuity and characters and all that. If you recall, the thing about Marvel was it was much more tried to be a lot more realistic, the everyday man as a superhero versus the alien from Krypton or the billionaire Bruce Wayne. And so, I mean, we're talking about Marvel, a guy flying around in an armor suit or a Norse god or whatnot. But I just think it's adapted to the big screen a little bit easier than doing the whole pantheon of DC, just because it's a little messier, I think. So I'm going to be really curious. I have tried to rewatch Superman, James Gunn's Superman, and I just couldn't get through it, man.
I haven't rewatched, but I feel like this one has potential as it's like a superhero movie with another story.
Yeah.
There's this whole thing about look like when she's leaving Krypton, and the dog, and there's just this whole vibe, at least to the trailer, to this trailer that kind of makes me think it's more of a story about her than necessarily a superhero flick, even though that's obviously there.
Well, and I think that's
clearly there.
I think that's what the comic book arc that it's taken from is about is, trying to find her own identity because, in the comic books, Kira was older than her cousin Kal-El, and she was supposed to basically be his nanny, guardian, babysitter to help raise him. She gets delayed in some stories. She ends up in the Phantom Zone, just a quirk of fate. And so Kal-El gets to Earth sooner than she does and grows up. And then when she gets out of the Phantom Zone, she's kind of essentially the same age she was when she went in, or maybe a little bit older. But now he's the adult. She's kind of the kid's sister. And so that's the dynamic.
Okay. That actually clears some things up in the trailer even.
So, cool. I'm interested to see.
Yeah.
So, but, anyway, well, I will tell you my geek of the week is the fact that Viggo Mortensen is losing a job. Uh-oh. So Andy Serkis, who played Gollum, motion captured Gollum, and has done a variety of things and is kind of the king of motion capture and kind of the actor who seems to be in charge, entrusted with the legends of Lord of the Rings now, is directing the upcoming Lord of the Rings: The Hunt for Gollum, which is in the books it's referenced, but it's never talked about because Gandalf and Aragorn go to try to find Gollum to figure out what's going on. Oh gosh, who plays Gandalf? I just blanked. Ian McKellen is reprising his role as Gandalf, but Viggo is not, and so they're recasting Aragorn. So Leo Woodall, who apparently was prominent in the second season of The White Lotus, is in talks. I've never seen him before, but physically he looks like he might be a younger Aragorn, which would be nice.
Was there a reason why?
It's just Viggo. I mean, at the time that this takes place, Aragorn is much younger than Lord of the Rings, and Viggo is not. Okay. So he's not Benjamin Viggo, or Viggo Button, or whatever you want to say. So yeah, I think that's the big issue, is the fact that he just no longer, even with de-aging techniques. So, Serkis is directing it. Obviously, he'll reprise his role as Gollum, and
didn't he do? Well, he was in Planet of the Apes too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Planet of the Apes, King Kong,
big motion capture.
He was in Black Panther. He's been in a million things. He's great. I mean, I think he's absolutely.
Oh yeah. I mean, I know who he is. I was just thinking that was two really big ones. The Rings and Gollum. Good grief.
Yeah. I mean, he defined the motion capture character. And I would. I'm not really big into audiobooks, but I would love to hear him reading Lord of the Rings. So, which would be pretty fascinating. So, but anyway, because he's got such diction, such range, and he launches into the characters, and it would be a lot of fun, I guess. But anyway, yeah. Sorry, Viggo. Happy retirement.
Yeah.
So, there's also speculation is, Christopher Lee has passed on for quite a while. He's been gone, but are you going to bring Saruman in? Or are you going to use him digitally? Kind of like we talked about Val Kilmer.
Yeah. I think I read something about that when I was reading about the Gollum movie, and I don't know that it was decided, but it's certainly speculated that he might be AI'd in.
Yeah. I mean, SAG, the Screen Actors Guild, has come in and said, hey, we don't like this at all, but if the estate of the deceased is okay with it, there's not a whole lot you can do about it. So anyway. Oh, did you see where the Super Mario Galaxy movie is the biggest opening worldwide?
No.
Last weekend, like $1.5 billion.
Good grief.
Apparently it stinks. So, but I mean, it
stinks all the way to the bank.
It stinks all the way to the bank, absolutely. So, but anyway,
all right.
We're going to take a break. We're going to talk adaptations up next. And we're back. And, we've talked about Project Hail Mary a little bit over the past few weeks. Neither Jay or I have seen it, but I've read the book. And it got us talking about how faithful are book adaptations, movies to books. And a good friend of mine, Steve Griffiths, shout out if you're listening on the other side of the world, Steve. He and I talked last week, and he's a big Project Hail Mary fan. He read the book saw the movie, and just loved both. But a lot of times folks will watch the movie, then read the book. He suggests that you read the book first if you can, then go see the movie, because you get a lot of more backstory. Which got me to thinking, what series are good adaptations? And it gets us into Murderbot, which has been on Apple TV Plus. I've implored you guys to watch, and you so far are the only one who's taken me up on that. Now that Art's retired, he's got all kinds of time in the world. But you had listened to the book, and I started the book, and you've watched the series. Number one, what'd you think about the series?
It was okay. It was pretty good, I'm going to say. I didn't love it, but it was short enough that I didn't feel like I was, even though it wasn't maybe the top thing I've watched lately, it wasn't, it was still worth my time. It was almost 10 episodes, maybe 2 movies worth of content.
Yeah.
So that made it bite-sized, and that was nice. There was a lot of good parts to it. I don't know how. I'm going to say it's faithful to the story, but so much left out.
I was going to ask you that.
Yeah. And it's been probably a year since I've listened to the book. So, I'm working with that sort of memory.
Yeah.
But I just thought, wow, they really moved fast from this point to this point. And a lot of the backstory and the details that were interesting in the book were not in the show. But the actors, I thought that was, and of course, as modern streaming does, they added some things, some elements, relationship elements in the story on the streaming show that were not in that I don't remember being in the book.
So the throuple,
the throuple was not, not there. You get the Sanctuary Moon episodes lived out, which are kind of there in the book, but not as visual. Obviously, that's an obvious point. But,
so back up,
but that part I liked.
Those of y'all playing along at home, Murderbot is based upon the Murderbot Diaries, a series of books by Martha Wells that won Hugo and Nebula, and they started as novellas. And the first novella was All Systems Red, which is what this series is based on. What did you listen to? You listened to All Systems Red?
Yeah, and it is a novella. It wasn't very long, which I also kind of liked.
Yeah. And so I've not read the books, the novellas, any of them, but just really, really enjoyed the show. Didn't really realize what I was getting into. It's Skellingard, which of the Skellingard kids is it?
Yeah, I forget.
Anyway,
he was great. Yeah, he was great.
I didn't realize it was kind of a dark comedy. And when you see something that says Murderbot, you think, okay, robot murdering people in space. There was a Robots of Death episodes of Doctor Who back in the late 70s, which I absolutely loved. Just brilliant writing. Anyway, so just the things I read said the content was relatively faithful to the book and or the novel.
Yeah, relatively, but details, like one thing they talk about, like part of the conflict. Every good story has a conflict, and the conflict in this is that this
obstacle
team,
and intent.
Yeah, this team has gone to a planet. They have, they're peaceful people. They're trying to just do research, and the corporation has not given them all the information and actually hidden some things. And there's a lot of detail in the book about how they figure it out and what it means.
It's pretty glossed over,
and it's very glossed over. Yeah. It's very simplified, so that you lose a little bit with that. And I think again, they added some stuff that, really, I don't know if it added to the story or not.
Yeah. But overall, you enjoyed it.
Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely. Yeah, I would recommend doing both. But in this case, I think reading the book helped me with the TV show. Yeah. If you watch the TV show, you may or may not be thinking this is going to be a great book. But the book was really good.
Yeah.
I would say read it first and then that. So then watch.
Well, I enjoyed it quite a bit. It's an easy watch. It's on Apple TV, which is the home of all science fiction. So it seems like at this point.
And we should say part of this, I think we mentioned this before, but part of the whole gist of this bot, this security unit, is that he's hacked his governor module. He's got some autonomy that they don't know about. And part of his thing is downloading all these, basically a space soap opera, thousands of episodes called Sanctuary Moon and other things.
He's downloaded his own Netflix into his memory.
Pretty much.
And he watches it when he's offline, not being used, and he just wants to be left alone so he can watch his shows, so he can watch his stories.
Yeah, but then and I think in the streaming series he uses it a lot more as, okay, well, in this episode or whatever, they do this, and so let's try this. There is maybe a little bit more of that, but
I thought that was hilarious.
And what's the guy? I didn't realize it till a couple episodes in, but the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. guy.
Phil Coulson's actor.
Yeah. He was one of the characters in that, which was kind of
and then Chekhov. I mean, the guy who played Sulu in the Star Trek movie.
That's what it was. Yeah. Okay, I could not make that
Clark
connection.
Gregg. A Sorenverse alum, because Clark Gregg has appeared in multiple Aaron Sorkin productions through the years.
All right.
I think he actually plays poker with Aaron Sorkin. That's how you get jobs in an Aaron Sorkin movie or series, is you get in that poker game and he'll cast you.
Okay.
But Clark Gregg is the commander in the episodes of Sanctuary Moon, which is a lot of fun. So you just finished listening to Wheel of Time. It took you most of your life, it seems like, to get through the first book. Thank you, Robert Jordan, R.I.P. And you just watched the first episode of the Prime series.
Yeah. So I listened to it on Spotify, which you only have a certain number of hours unless you pay them even more. So it was a very long and drawn out listen. And I just kept thinking, are you ever going to get there? Are you ever going to get to, what? I'll be honest, I did not really enjoy the book like I thought I would, with all the hype that it has and all the books that are written at the sequels and all the stuff. And now Brandon Sanderson's involved, all the things. So I thought this was going to be epic, and I really didn't. It was epic in length, but I didn't love it. And so I thought, well, I'm really anxious to see what they did with the show. And I know you have opinions. I can't believe there's 3 seasons of it. I watched one episode. I'm like, I'm kind of following along because I've read the book, but y'all really emphasized a lot of things and de-emphasized others that the book did not. And this is, I don't know, this didn't play out in my head when I was reading the way you're putting it on the screen.
No, not at all. And that was a big criticism of the series when it came out. I haven't read the books in 15 years, and so they're not nearly as fresh. But, to me, Wheel of Time is very, very Lord of the Rings derivative, in that you've got a group of innocents leaving a small sheltered, was it Two Rivers?
Two Rivers, yeah.
And they go and they have some sort of innate power. They're going to be champions to change the world, not unlike, 4 hobbits leaving the Shire. Very much hero's quest. And
in the book there was, I guess they did leave with 4, and then the 5th came later. So that was part of.
Yeah, I can't remember who the 5th was.
Nynaeve.
Nynaeve. Yeah. But so the series was panned because of that, and they had already shot the second series, and they decided to try to give that.
There's 3 seasons. Because I looked ahead at the episodes, and clearly I could just tell from the descriptions that by the time you get the end of the 3rd season, you're way past the book that I read.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
So I don't know if the first book and the first season match up, but it looked like they may have even gone farther in the first season than they got because they never. I don't think they actually ever got to Tarvalon in the first book, but it looked like they might have.
I think they did. And it just, man, it was kind of a mess.
Yeah. But I will say, as far as the book goes, the highlight of the book was the making of it, because Rosamund Pike narrated the version that I listened to.
Yeah.
And
she was an executive producer on the show.
Okay, I didn't realize that. And she was Moraine and everything. And she did a really, really good job of the narration of the book. She did just enough nuance in the voices that you could tell. I mean, she was that kind of narrator. I'm reading another one now called Red Rising. The guy that's doing that is really, really good.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was the highlight, listening to her read.
So should we say that you're not reading, you're listening to a book? Because you're not really reading
I'm consuming a book.
Yeah, but you're not reading
my ears. No, I'm not reading it.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
It's being read to me.
I guess I have a little bit.
It is being read, but not to me.
I guess that's
by me.
That's a hill I'm willing to die on. You haven't read it if you've listened to the audiobook.
Technically speaking, no, but you have consumed every word of it just like you were reading it. So on my book list, it goes down. I just put the word audio beside it.
I invoke Uncle Marshall McLuhan, who says the medium is the message. I mean, and the medium is different.
Okay.
Yeah.
You may have your opinion.
And it's right. It's always right. So, well, let's go to, it's a little bit disappointing. And you have to realize when Wheel of Time came out, there wasn't anything else like it. And so now you've got 8 bazillion fantasy series that are interwoven throughout all kinds of things. And Wheel of Time was epic because it was epic. And I think the first book was published in what, 94?
Are you talking about the book or the?
I'm talking about the book.
Okay.
Let me look it up. When was the first book published? Oh gosh, I mean, The Eye of the World was published in 1990.
Oh gosh.
So you've got to realize at that point, Lord of the Rings had just kind of been discovered. Fantasy was coming out. You had Terry Brooks with the sort of the Shannara series, which was a New York Times bestseller in like 1982, 83, which was just basically a retelling of Tolkien.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that the week or two ago.
And so publishers are like, oh, people will read fantasy and buy it. We can make money. And so that launched a whole bunch of folks. And it was fine when I was 20 years old reading, but there's a big difference between it and a Game of Thrones by George R.R. Martin. I mean, a huge difference. So, but anyway, so another adaptation that was really, really popular, the Harry Potter movies. So you read the series?
I did eventually. My Harry Potter chronology is Lauren and Melissa really liked them. So they were watched at our house a lot. And I would kind of come in and out. I never watched one all the way through, I don't think, for a long time. And then I decided one summer I was going to read the book, watch the movie. So I would read the book and then immediately watch the whole movie all the way through the 7 books and 8 movies or whatever it is. So so I've done both, but it was kind of a weird order. So I was kind of familiar with the characters, pretty familiar with them before I read it. But then when I read it and watched, I realized, hey, they've done a terrific job with the movie, but there's a lot more content in the book that could have been put in. But I don't feel like the movies were slow.
Yeah,
I don't think they could have put anything more in and not made more movies.
Well, so
without making more movies.
I was one of these guys, one of these people. That's kind of where I got to Amazon. Was the Harry Potter books release. And the last 3 books I got day of through Amazon. And I would be one of these folks. I really, really enjoyed J.K. Rowling's writing. I like the fantasy universe that she built. And I would get the book and read it pretty quickly. And I felt like the first, the Philosopher's Stone, which is what it's now being called in the U.S., as opposed to the Sorcerer's Stone, because the publisher said, well, those idiots in the U.S., they don't know what a philosopher's stone would be, so we're going to call it a sorcerer's stone. So I felt like, Christopher Columbus, who directed the first movie, was trying to get his next Home Alone. So it had a lot of it was fine, but it wasn't until Curzon came in with Prisoner of Azkaban that I feel like they got their stride. So movie 3, movie 4 on, I thought was much stronger. HBO has gone back to the well, and they are they're shooting right now the Harry Potter series. They've recast everybody. Snape is now, he's British. I can't call him African American. A black male, just as menacing as Alan Rickman was. So anyway, point being, most of the characters are very similar to what they've done in the movies, which were pretty faithful to the books, but they're going to take a lot more time, which each book getting a full season. And I really like that approach. So I'm looking forward to see what they do.
The trailer was kind of meh. I'm not sure.
Really? I like the trailer quite a bit.
Yeah, we'll see.
It's going to be difficult for me, I guess, for the first season. They're not using the John Williams Harry Potter theme. So I guess they don't have rights to it, because I didn't hear any John Williams music or any of the traditional cues.
Yeah, I think it'll just take some time for everybody to kind of wrap your mind around the new faces.
Yeah.
And once we get through the first season, if they do a good job with it, then we'll all be on board and we'll keep watching it.
So that's an adaptation that will be interesting to watch. The third, I've got 2 more examples of a positive and a negative. As he looks at his watch, I have to go, Robbie. It's 8:00 in the morning. I have to leave and do things. So Foundation, which is also on Apple TV Plus, based upon Isaac Asimov, Art and I've talked about it, bears only a passing resemblance to the book.
Okay, because I think I actually read Foundations and then watched the first couple episodes, and I would agree.
So Foundation is probably the greatest example of a media property that is a lot to do about nothing, almost Seinfeld-esque in that Seinfeld, they do basically nothing. And, it's a classic. It was often deemed to be unfilmable. And what David Goyer has done and his team has done with Foundation is to take some of those overarching themes, ideas, supplement, and they made something that's pretty cool. And but I know Art has had a problem with just letting go of the Asimov book because it was so classic, and I completely agree. You just got to go into it knowing that it's really not Foundation.
Loosely based on.
Very, very, very loosely based on. So that's one of the
inspired by, maybe.
Yeah. Silo, which also is pretty bloomin' faithful to the books.
I've seen the first season of that, but I haven't read the book.
Yeah. But the last use case, I guess, of adaptations, Dune Part 1 and Part 2, just finished rewatching them again. Incredibly faithful, I feel like, to Frank Herbert. And, there's some things from Frank Herbert's books that you just really are pretty dated, but man, they just kind of nailed everything. And, again, with your recommendation with Murderbot, it's a dense book. You should probably read Dune and then watch it. But I think you could go either order. So you never read Dune, did you? It's you should listen to Dune.
Okay.
Yeah.
The kid.
Yeah, I think you would enjoy it. It's quite good. It's a seminal work in science fiction. It's one of those that is often regarded as a classic, and nothing's as good as Dune in the Dune series from then on. So they try to recapture the magic. Dune Part 3 is going to be based upon Dune Messiah, which is a much smaller book. So I'll be really curious how faithful that is. But yeah, should be interesting. But any other thoughts about adaptations, either streaming or movies, faithful or not faithful to books?
Well, I have again, I haven't read I've read The Hobbit, but I mean, this is a
Pretty
classic
faithful.
adaptation. I mean, I thought that was pretty faithful, but I didn't read the Lord of the Rings series, but it seemed from what I heard and saw, I mean, that was pretty faithful.
Yeah.
Game of Thrones, I read the first book, watched a few episodes. It seemed pretty good too, faithful wise. I mean, I know it got off script later, but
Yeah, because there was no book to go by.
yeah,
So,
and there's
thanks,
Starbucks in that world.
George R.R. So, I will tell you, just to kind of wrap up, this is kind of a personal anecdote here. So, did you see Schindler's List?
Yeah.
Did you read the book by chance?
No.
The book's incredible, absolutely incredible, and the movie's absolutely incredible.
Yeah, for sure.
And so the movie is probably one of the most faithful adaptations of a book. They took Ben Kingsley's character and they combined two characters from the book, which the book was based on a true story. It was more a nonfiction telling than anything that was dramatized. So 1995, at the Lyceum series at Mississippi State, one of the programs, they had two of the Schindler survivors come and talk.
Wow.
Absolutely incredible. I've got goosebumps thinking about it. And, they said that Spielberg did an amazing job, an absolutely amazing job. The only thing that Spielberg didn't do, it wasn't brutal enough.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah. And they said, that was kind of the to me, that's the last word. These folks lived this and they vowed to the authenticity and the authenticity of the book as well. And that was just kind of cool.
That's amazing.
So read the book before you see anything?
In general, yeah.
Yeah.
That's my
you still think that's good?
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, thankfully, there's no book for this podcast, so you'll have to keep coming back week after week. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.